Up next here we have head football coach Mike Clark, who is entering his 25th season on the helm, one of the longest tenured coaches at Bridgewater and for the football program in the ODAC, state of Virginia. So, Coach, thank you for joining us. Let's talk a little bit about this past season. I know we're one win shy of claiming the ODAC title. What's the kind of give us a rebrief of the season and kind of what we're looking forward to heading to the spring?
Well, unfortunately, we're in a business where you got to move on very quickly. What you did a year ago really doesn't impact you a lot. We were picked low and finished high, which is kind of a good thing, what you want to try to do. I think the key thing is, can you take momentum from the past season? I'm hoping that we can. We've had some staff turnover, but that's the nature of the business. But I do think I don't have a lot of players, but I got a core group that it matters to. And as you mentioned in the intro, I mean, I'm starting my 25th season here. Hey, I'm modeling the silver season pullover that we're going to be pulling out later on. This is going to be an event, and I want to make sure we use the right pronoun. It's not my 25th season, it's our 25th season, because it's really about who I've shared this with, because multiple people contribute this. They've enjoyed the wins, they've shared the wins, they've helped me through the downtime. So in that sense, I'm really kind of excited. I came to Bridgewater. I didn't have a job. I'd left Division I. I had two forced moves of my oldest daughter in 6th and 7th grade, where I had to move her in April, and that's tough when you're that age. And I remember, I made the move because I wanted to stay in coaching, and I wanted to be able to look Megan in the eye and say, I'll give you 4 years to get you through high school. That was the objective, when I came here. And 4's now turned into past 24. So you want to hear a good joke, tell God your plans.
So this year you actually became the longest tenured active head coach in the state of Virginia. So I guess talk about just over those 25 years what some of the players, coaches, alums, staff have meant, family of course as well, that have taken that journey with you.
Well, I think what it gets into is I've run the gamut here. Hey, I haven't been Nick Saban, where I played for national championships every year, and my losing seasons unfortunately haven't been 13-1, that he had to suffer through a year ago. But I do think this. I had 2 seasons where I did win them all, in the regular seasons. I had 2 seasons where I didn't win a game in the regular season. And if I found out anything, one didn't satisfy me, and the winning didn't satisfy me, and the losing didn't kill me. I think probably what I'm most grateful for is I haven't been a moving target. I haven't stayed here as long as I have. I've built relationships. When my former players come back, and now a lot of those people are my friends, and I see them, how accomplished they are. I see their families. I see what they're doing. I get a special satisfaction there that goes well beyond scoreboards, even though scoreboards matter. And particularly on a day of giving, we're in meetings where it's always about the budget, and it's the nature of the beast. And I do think when people step up and are willing to designate and say, I want this to help my sport, whatever it might be. Hey, everybody in that building over at Neininger, we've got a beautiful building, but everybody in there appreciates that. And, having that flexible money that a coach gets to suggest how it's spent and have a little more input in it, that's really important to our operation, and money matters even at this level.
Right. We're talking about fundraising and remaining competitive in the ODAC. I mean, what is the biggest thing? How does fundraising impact our competitive nature and remain at the top of the conference, and when a conference that just keeps getting stronger and stronger every year?
Well, I think it keeps getting stronger and stronger. I mean, you can go online. I mean, there's a website I can send somebody to. I can show you what everybody spends on every sport, in the ODAC. And so I do think that. I don't know that you necessarily can always buy success, but don't kid yourself, it helps. We're in a situation here where in our recruiting, which gets more difficult every year, in my 24, 25 years here, within a 3-hour radius, I think last time I counted, 19 schools have added football. They're not doing it for altruistic reasons. And if you got a small private institution that's struggling financially, the business model says add Division III football and discount some kids and get people paying, and this is how we're going to bail our way out. So, it's happened to us a lot, and there's a lot of voices out there, but there's maybe not as many fish in the sea. And certainly when you can bring people to your campus and it has eye value, that helps. Everything you do helps.
So when you're recruiting someone to Bridgewater, what are some of the qualities and aspects you're looking for in that student athlete?
Well, I mean, the first thing we try to do, and I'm not going to lie to you. We try to say, can this young man help us as a football athlete? Can he enhance our program? Does he fit a football need? I think the big thing, what you have to do at this level is you have to we try to focus too on what kind of home support are they going to get. There's a lot of people that want to come, but usually people, this isn't a place or Division III isn't a situation you can choose on your own and usually make it. There's usually other people involved in the equation. We try to ID that, and my hope is that I tell people Division III will always be a volume game. That's the nature of the beast in a lot of the sports. But I try to tell people, I've been here long enough that I can point to a wall, or I'll give you some numbers. The people that stay and the people that finish, they're accomplished. They're doing great things with their lives, and I think that's the opportunity that you want to sell. We're in a day and age where they're going to have to look at this product and say, what will this do for me in 5 years? And that's kind of the market. That's what we have to show when we come in and try to make our pitch.
You talk about fan support. What is something that the fans and the community can get excited about as we enter towards spring practice, we get close to that season? I mean, what's kind of going to be the highlight, and what's going to be the main focus as we come into your 2015?
Doing some things to kind of enhance Jobson Field. I think that's a project moving forward here. But I also think Dr. Bushman's has done a good job in trying to make it about, hey, this becomes an event. Whether you like football or not, when I get out of this business, I'm going to hang out at tailgate areas and have an opinion on the game. But got to a point last year, people would always ask, they give me an opinion on the game, and I'd have to ask them, did you leave the tailgate area to watch, or were you watching from the tailgate area? And if they were watching from the tailgate area, I don't listen to their opinion because the view isn't real good. But I'm sure they had a good time. But I do think what athletics gives, and I think athletics, theater, performance, it gives us an arena, it gives us a stage. There's great things about Bridgewater College you're never going to see unless you have a reason to come back, and that's what I always tried to feel. What I try to put out there, I try to put a product that's going to draw somebody to Bridgewater, and while they're here, they're going to see 3 other things that are really pretty neat that they didn't know went on this campus.
We mentioned the 6-4 record last year, but that included 4 straight wins at the end, and that came off actually a loss, but it was a double overtime loss at the ODAC champion Randolph. Macon Yellow Jackets, where the team battled back from 17 points down, really was 1 play away from winning the game on a couple occasions. So it seemed like you seemed to find something on both sides of the ball. Led by some juniors on defense. A lot of junior linebackers will be back. Offensively, I think you would struggle more earlier in the year, and that really clicked probably starting in the second half of that Randolph-Macon game. What were some of the things that you found, that second half of the year that you can now bring into 2019?
Well, I think what we did, we rebooted. We rebooted offensively and defensively. I'll get real technical here, but we changed our defensive front, and we kind of went back. We drank the Kool-Aid a few years before, and that was a mistake on my part, a decision that I made. You don't have to necessarily be a fast break football team to be successful. I think, if you can run, I've always said this, if you play great defense, if you put your best athletes on the field and gain an advantage in the kicking game, don't turn the ball over, you will always have a chance to win in the fourth quarter. And when you look at our season last year, 8 out of those 10 games were decided in the fourth quarter, and 2 of them that we lost, we turned the ball over too many times. So I do think sometimes when you can say, I'm not too proud to run the football and control the clock and still win a football game, that kind of goes counterculture right now, but I'll be different to win if that's what I need to do.
Super Bowl doing it this year.
They won a Super Bowl, and I do think this. I don't know that you're ever going to outwork people on offense or defense. Everybody puts time on that. I do think you can outwork them in the kicking game, and I think the plan that it clicked down the stretch. You're right. We have returning people on defense. There's not a lot of depth right now in any of our positions, so we still have to continue our recruiting and finish that well. We got to try to retain people, that's difficult. There's a lot of variables that influence my players in a long off season, but I'm certainly looking forward to the challenge, and right now it's about, hey, I'll try to get people stronger, and I'll try to get the right young kids coming in here in August that are ready to contribute.
Coach. Well, before we give Jimmy any more time to brag about Boston sports, thank you for all you've done for this college, all that you continue to do. And we're all excited here for your 25th year, and we can't wait for everybody to get back on the gridiron and bring a new light to 2019 football season.
Well, I'm grateful for what the college has done for me. I think when you've stayed around long enough, I'm blessed that I've been able to, I think, have good influence on people. But I've also had a lot of people that have had tremendous influence on me. And there's not enough time in this podcast to name them all. But for all those people that are out there, a sincere thank you. And I'll still try to give you an honest day's work for an honest day's pay. Go Eagles.